Hey everybody, how are you doing? I'm Michelle, and I am reading these incredible stories. Well, they're not really stories, I mean, they're true facts, but also mixed with inspiration from heaven, from God. That's what I think. Yeah. So, what this is a book. It was written by a dear friend. His name is Jim Stevens, and he has put together here, it took him about 6 years to put this together, and they are 101 absolute proofs to the existence of God, our invisible God. Yeah, 101 proofs for his existence. So it's truly a marvel. I just feel inspired to read this book. I never thought I would be doing something like this, but yeah, the stories are just amazing, and I think everyone should know about them. Yeah, to know about God's true love for us. Hmm. All right. So I am going to be reading about the moon, and this is Jim's. This is his 49th story concerning the moon. Okay. All right. Chapter 49, the moon. Everybody likes the moon, right? Have you ever met anyone who had bad things to say about the moon? The moon is associated with love and romance. Songs, poems, and art describe it all the time. We think of the moon as our friend. Sometimes, after a really struggling time, or when we are feeling especially lonely, we look up in the sky and are surprised by a full moon. Then the feeling comes over us, at least God loves me. All throughout history, the moon has provided light in the night. It has been of incalculable value to our ancestors. Even today, many peoples of the world have to depend on the light of the moon at night. If it were just an average moon in our solar system, it would be 10 times smaller and give off only 1/20th the light, which would be virtually worthless to us. How many wonderful memories do you have over your lifetime that include the moon? The cycles of the moon help us tell time and the passing of months and seasons. Many cultures celebrate festivals centered on the moon. Our own bodies have emotional cycles that correspond to 28 to 29 days, known as biorhythms. Women, of course, have a fertility cycle of similar length. No other known planet in the whole universe has a moon like the one we have. And I'm going to read this again. Jim said to read this again. No other known planet in the entire universe has a moon like our moon. Okay. That's all really wonderful stuff. That is almost enough proof for God by itself. Such a truly sentimental rock existing up in the sky that moves our heart so much is very, very unlikely to happen by accident. A rock that moves us all so much. However, I need to tell you more about the moon. Without it, we would all be dead. Okay? We could not survive on the earth if there were no moon. However, um, the moon stabilizes the earth on its axis. If not for the moon, the earth would swing back and forth on its axis up to about 90 degrees instead of just the few degrees it varies now. This would cause unbelievable chaos And the temperatures, climate conditions, volcanoes, oceans, and more. Nothing would be stable, and we could not live here. The moon is primarily responsible for the ocean tides. This constant churning up and down twice a day, listen to this, is what cleans and refreshes the oceans and shorelines, keeping them from getting stagnant. It stirs up the nutrients in the oceans, providing the food sources needed by the tiniest of sea creatures, algae, and oxygen providing microbes. All life in the sea depends on them. So we depend on them too. Ocean tides are now also being studied as a potential source for clean, renewable energy. Of course. That's what God had in mind all the time. The moon plays a role as a protector in the sky, shielding us from such things as asteroids and cosmic dust. Look at the pockmarks on the moon from collisions. One crater is 8 miles deep and 1,500 miles across, the largest known crater in the solar system. Wow, really took a hit. Scientists have been able to learn a lot about the sun and the universe only because of the moon. It is exactly 400 times smaller than the sun and 400 times closer. What a coincidence. It also revolves around the Earth in the same plane as the Earth revolves around the sun. This is very unusual. And not a single one of the 150 other moons in the solar system does this. Because of all this, the moon is able to eclipse the sun. Especially valuable to scientists is the total solar eclipse, which allows them the only time they can possibly view the sun's corona and take measurements on it. This has led to untold leaps in knowledge in fields such as astronomy. Gravity is another amazing fact of nature that we learn more about with the aid of the moon. Sir Isaac Newton was trying to understand the moon's rotation when he discovered gravity. Here is an amazing fact. If you had to replace the strength of gravity between the Earth and the moon with a long steel pole, you would have to get a pole that is 531 miles in diameter. Think about that. It's hard to even imagine an invisible force that strong. It is estimated at 70 million trillion pounds. Okay, here comes the best part of all. Scientists don't know where the moon came from. That's right. As long as they exclude God, they have no viable theory for the origin of the moon. There have been a number of theories over the years, but we have sent 12 men to walk on the moon, and they've brought back 842 pounds of rock and dust samples. All those theories fell apart. Known laws of physics and geology would have to be violated if they were true. Godless theories for the source of the moon fit into 3 areas. A, formation from the earth, or fission Somehow a chunk of Earth broke off, and then that's what the moon is. B, formation independent of the Earth. Capture, the moon was just passing by. And C, formation simultaneously with the Earth. Condensation from a dust cloud. For a brief consideration of each, and how it fails to explain the origin. Right. For a brief consideration of each point, and how it fails to explain the origin, see the sources in the footnotes of this book. The latest theory, which is what they will try to tell you in textbooks and on websites, is about how a Mars-sized planet slammed into the Earth and ended up creating the moon. But if you read all the way down the page, you can find where they mention the arguments against this theory. For example, it's almost impossible that such a collision could happen. Secondly, even if it did, the moon would certainly not be made of the material that is in the rocks that were brought back. Think that over. Those textbooks might as well spell it out more clearly like this. Here's the truth about the origin of the moon. It resulted when a planet crashed into the Earth. But the rocks retrieved from the moon say that is impossible. Anyway, believe us because we're scientists and it's the truth. Therefore, I'm sorry, but in my world, the real world, that is not the definition of truth. And it's not scientific either. If the odds are only 1 in a million that it is true, I would simply call it false and risk my credibility on it. Scientists who promote lies should have their funding cut off. That's Jim's point of view. Here's a funny description of their state of affairs by one scientist. The best explanation for the existence of the moon was observational error. The moon does not exist. The moon was created by God. And there aren't any other options. So if you know any other option, please email Jim. Okay? You can find his email. Just check back through the playlist of all of these all of these proofs, and you'll find it. It's there. I put it there. Okay. So I hope you have a great give and take with Jim. And oh, I forgot to read the last line. So there has to be God. Okay. Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you very much, everybody. Wow. Okay. So have a good day. Take care. Bye.